IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, Cyrus says time. Lot of interesting guests finally available thanks to COVID. I hope in India becoming a little less. Rest of the world we can't talk about right now. But before we start, just a quick word on the American elections. My advice to the United States of America, so-called first country, is follow India. We may be in some ways backward, but in politics we are the number one country of the world. It has 3 phases, so nobody gets tired. You do little electing, and then you figure out what's happening. The next electing, you figure out what happens in third. 3 phases means, ek shot mein everything happens on time. In America, this election has dragged on and on. It's like, an old relative waiting to die, and everyone is standing around, and they're saying, Mar gaya, nahi mar gaya, Mar gaya, nahi mar gaya. They're waiting and waiting and waiting. It's driven people crazy, especially the 99% of normal Democrat supporters who want Joe Biden to win, which I hope is 88% of the people who listen to this show. Donald Trump, you've done very well as a TV anchor. Let's hope you return to that and leave the presidency alone. I think the words that would come out of this, I think we're pretty sure now that he will not come back, is thank God.
बेटा, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
We are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we are just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel.
And me, Tushar.
Every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.
And with that, we start a beautiful show called Cyrus Says, which has no sponsor and no future. But we do have 2 lovely people on. My favorite people in the whole world, well, other than animal lovers, are sports people. And real sports people, the ones who work hard and compete and sacrifice and suffer, follow diets and achieve things, win, lose. Those are the people I love the most in the whole world. If I was a fascist dictator, they would be the last to be executed. So having said that, welcome Shlok Ramchandran. Because in India, we always say hi to the male first for some reason. I don't know why this happens, but I've noticed it everywhere. And of course, Tanvi lad, who I know from, we share space in this stupid club called Bombay Gym. Somewhere in Mumbai, which may or may not be open, but rules are so confusing. Welcome to the show, guys. And first and foremost, you are baddie champions. I love the sport, follow the sport. Growing up, one of my closest friends was Sunit Welling. I don't know if you remember him, but he was junior national champion for a little while, the Rajiv Bagga era. And so I actually got to see a lot of badminton. We used to go and cheer him on. And so I don't know why I'm wasting my time telling you about my greatness when I never played the sport. No, I have played the sport. Hey, before we start, Tanvi, I want to ask you, can you believe that in March when we started talking about these programs and podcasts, I remember right at the beginning, and you said you want to do that and stuff, you won't believe the first thing we did, I think in our colony in about end April, was we started playing badminton. Because, we were so bored. So the guys who were less paralyzed with fear, we found 4 or 5 rackets. My wife, me, 2, 3 other younger guys, actually, all in their 30s and early 40s. Younger for me, that is. And we started playing down. And I can't tell you how that little bit of playing badminton and little socialization that we did in the evenings really made us happy. We hardly spoke to the neighbors before that. So badminton has played a very important role for me in 2020, being the one game where we could, sort of like a therapy for us to get a little better and feel good. Having said that, it is your Rosa Roti and beyond. It is your passion. And so we'll first talk about that. So, guys, let's start with the story of Shlok and Tanvi. Of course, it's not a romance. Not about doubles. Very much about singles.
Definitely not.
Tanvi, he's laughing too much. I'm getting an out-of moment here, like I've caught someone.
From your MTV Bakra days, I think listening to you, I only laughed. So that's just continuing.
So no credibility is what you're saying. But thank God you all are there to save the day. No, come on now. Let's talk about first and foremost the suffering, and we'll go back into your lives and where you've reached and how well you all are doing. But for 7-8 months, you guys are hardcore sportsmen. You train all the time. That's your life. How did it hit you? Just take us through that, because I don't think we've spoken to anyone who's actually gone through that sudden vacuum of not training, which is, I mean, come on, that must have been mentally quite strange for you.
So initially it was actually a welcome break, because we're so used to living this gypsy lifestyle, living out of a suitcase all the time, that being in one place and binge watching Netflix shows and eating what we want to eat was like a holiday for the first couple of weeks. And then, of course, it started hitting me because we're at least I am a creature of habit and routine. So not having a routine, not seeing my teammates every day and not having that competitive push every day was kind of getting to me. And but yeah, luckily my coach started these online Zoom fitness sessions. So every day we would meet up at 2:00 and at least work out together.
How?
So within the limited space in your house, we would do like agility sessions or
so shadow badminton,
badminton, yeah, with the racket, and at least to,
like a Rocky movie, huh? Tanvi and
totally.
Shlok, rising up, front, back, front. And hardly like in our small houses, I can imagine you go 1 foot here, 1 foot there. Sorry, auntie. Oops, that must have been fun. But back to the serious issue of the whole thing, which is that, see, you guys are disciplined professionals, and whether you like it or not, your body is used to discipline. So that when that discipline goes away for a longer period of time, what happens to you? Because, you get up at the same time or work at, you're always pushing yourself in a sense, and suddenly there's nothing to push.
I mean, so I took an indefinite sabbatical right before COVID. So I took the sabbatical.
बड़े बड़े शब्द है, तो I have to write it down. Sabbatical, Google, auntie, find out. Yeah, sorry.
So it's a fancier word for an early retirement, a possible retirement. So, and then COVID happened. Just after that, COVID happened.
Oh, you took it before?
Right before COVID.
How ironic.
So 14th Feb, I decided to take a sabbatical. And
Stop again. Valentine's Day, you took a sabbatical. So what went wrong? So now this is off the court. Let's go off the court for a second.
I wish something would have happened wrong, but there wasn't any
only Valentine's Day. God, welcome to Indian male society. Nothing will change. Yeah. Sorry.
So first couple of months, even though I wasn't training, so I was talking to a lot of my friends who are pro badminton players, and they are giving me a call at 5 a.m. in the morning saying that, "Arey, kya kar raha hai?" I'm like, "Shouldn't you sleep?" Like, no, sleep cycle has gone for a toss, waking up at 2 in the afternoon, sleeping at 5 in the morning, having a full glass of Nutella. And so most of our friends and even us were struggling because, we haven't been outside the court for so long. And, Tanvi is a different creature because, she is so dedicated. And she's got a structure and like, nahin, main subah 9 baje karugi, 10 baje karugi, 11 baje karugi. See, most of us are not like that. We don't even know what we are doing later this evening. So it was difficult for the rest of the batch. For 90, so I remember talking to one of my senior players, Parupali Kashyap. He's like, abhi maine Hershey's ka pura bottle khatam kar diya.
Wow.
I'm like, diet? Yeah, jab start hoega, it's still time, 2-3 months before it's going to start. I'll take care of it then.
He's this guy who's like full on into keto and things like that, and then suddenly he's like, I'm binging on Nutella at midnight.
Extreme personalities, wherever they are, always have this problem. Extreme discipline leads to extreme madness. You can see that as well.
But he was pretty clear, I think. He said, this is my body, my way of giving my body that rest. And I know when it's time, I'm going to go whole hog 3 months before and, make up.
The famous bodybuilder Ronnie Coleman had a similar theory where he said you have to have one cheat day for the body to realize that this food is not good for it. Yeah. And then actually the science of that has been sort of proven now as well, that you have one bad day and then the 6 good days that follow, there's like a boomerang effect and it sort of gets better for the body. You have to take in the nutrients because they said, okay, we had this bad day. So maybe that's what he was trying to do.
But like you mentioned, I mean, for sportsmen, everything revolves around, our tournament schedule and preparing and, working backwards. We kind of, if there is X event to prepare for, then you work backwards, your whole training, your diet, everything revolves around that. And there was zero clarity. I mean, tournament calendar was suspended. When is the circuit going to resume? When are we actually going to travel? There was zero clarity, zero motivation. I mean, for a lot of players. So that
and
was
you were also in Bangalore, right, at that time?
I've been in Bangalore for the last 9 months. Right? Yeah, I mean, sort of at my academy.
What a term to use, 9 months. Okay. I mean, now, again, my stupid mind. So you were stuck at the academy. So in a sense, but they wouldn't let you even run. So you're basically stuck in your room yet in the academy.
I live outside the academy. So yeah, at least around my apartment I could run, but it's concrete. It's hard, it's a hard surface, not ideal for your knees and things like that. So you have to keep all this stuff in mind when you're actually working out and training out of home.
Also, you didn't know how long it would last. And Shlok,
Exactly.
what were you doing?
What was I doing? I was having a lot of food.
But at home?
At home.
Where's home?
Home is Kandivali.
Bangalore. Here in Mumbai, we're so full of ourselves. Kandivali is good enough. It's such a famous city. We don't have to tell you the city's name. Yeah. Ask Arnav Goswami. He knows the city properly. They put him in Alibag in a school. Why did they do that? If you have to put him somewhere, why put him in a school? Yeah. Imagine the kids all coming, little Arnavs coming out after 1 week. The world is falling apart.
The nation wants to know.
The nation wants to know.
The school wants to know at the moment. Adhyapak kaun hai? So you're on Kandivali, and do you have? So what would you do? Basically flat in the beginning, they won't let you down or whatever.
No. So our society never had any cases. I mean, I don't know how, but we just escaped with it. No cases at all. So there's a huge garden. So I have
obviously.
Yeah. So I have my cousin sister who is the junior national women doubles champion.
Wow.
So it was good motivation for me to train her. And so basically I was Mickey in Rocky, if you know. Yeah, okay. So I'm like pushing her all the time and she hates me 6 out of 7 days a week. And like, Arey Shlok, why do you push me so much? And this is not the way. Would you train as hard? I don't have any tournaments. But then I would just say that mera to ho gaya, abhi tum khel lo. So you have to
mera to ho gaya. I mean, know whether the schedule is on and off, right?
I know a lot.
He had retired.
Ush time I had taken a sabbatical, no? So
one thing, this is already one of your tribe has caused confusion with her tweet. Just please, guys, you badminton people, just say the right words. I think when she put retired, I think the whole sporting fraternity was what? So you're doing a Me Too now, badminton style.
Me Too, exactly.
What the hell is this? So you were just on a sabbatical, so in your mind you're saying you were damn calm.
Yeah, I was damn calm.
Yeah.
But the problem was when the lockdown happened, my mom was in the US. She was stuck in the US. So from April to June, my mom wasn't here. And so it was basically dad and me surviving on Maggie.
Oh, so there's no one to cook. Oh, obviously.
No one to cook. And the experiments I had with food, which were not too bad.
It could break a relationship between father and son.
I mean, we were very close.
I'll tell you about it later.
We were very close.
Or that.
Yeah, I was almost being thrown out of the will, but then dad is like, "Nahi, tu iklota bachcha, I'll still keep you. Yeah. But please don't go to the kitchen again."
Fair enough. I think a lot of people should write down the anecdotes of family issues which get exposed like this. I mean, we're joking about it, but I'm sure two males suddenly who haven't stepped in the kitchen, really, I mean, it is like, suddenly how much you love your mother or your wife, it all becomes obvious. Yeah.
And mom is taking stress in the US, no?
Oh yeah, Indian mother.
Mera bachcha kya kha? And then we used to order from Swiggy, no?
Shlok did full jugaad. He put out his neighbor. And
I knew it. Then I was about to say that. I'm telling you 100% when he told me he's in the garden playing that. I see a Jitendra song in the background and him playing with his... Yeah. And all that's happening while the rest of the world is dying left, right and center. So obviously you go to the Sharma's residence and say, auntie, mummy nahi hai. And then everybody's maternal instinct comes in. Poor Shlok beta. You must have shaved and gone to all the houses.
So I was very fortunate. So I had one Punjabi neighbor, one Maharashtrian neighbor and one South Indian neighbor. So
So you did your bit for Ekta and secularism. From a Matlabi standpoint of not repeating cuisine, huh?
The positive from this thing was that the Millennial Athlete was born. Because I suddenly had this brainwave one morning. I woke up and I was like, dude, this idea, let's we've been talking about it for a while. Something on the lines of a chat show or a podcast where we wanted to interview all the badminton players and just, something light, something like Coffee with Karan, but a little serious.
No questions about whether you'll have sex with a man in a lift and all that. I don't know where those come from. I'm like, poor Hardik Pandya and all of this is a sweet, normal guy, yaar. He suddenly thinks, okay, this is what they want to talk about. So he talked about it. Next thing, suspension. why didn't BCCI suspend Karan? He should not be allowed to play cricket for India, as far as I'm concerned. But, so you're spot on, yeah, Tanvi, because I think, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
So suddenly you have very little to do. And then in a sense, as you said, you've got into this space and both of you are doing that. So just before we segue into that, just tell us, you were listening to podcasts because there must be some idea that came from somewhere.
Yeah, I was actually listening to a couple of shows on the IVM network itself, like your show.
You're the only one.
And Agla Station, Adulthood, and a couple of them, just...
So nothing to do with sport.
Nothing to do with sport, no. So this was something niche that... caught my attention, and I was like, okay, let's do this. So we started actually contacting a lot of our teammates and sportsmen across different sports who we've interacted with at some point, or my colleagues at Indian Oil. So we reached out to them, and everyone, was at home and didn't really have a routine. So they had a lot more time on hand. So they were all willing.
Routine in April, yeah, Tanvi, come on. I mean, I saw the picture of the Chinese guy running in the room, the marathon athlete. With due love and respect, ये बीमारी है.
Oh, yes.
What is the point of running 7 steps and turning for 3 hours? I mean, really, yaar, with due respect, honestly.
So that's what. So the athletes who were not traveling, didn't have much of a routine. So they were more than willing to actually come on the show and spend some time answering all our questions. So it turned out to be quite candid and,
You said that. Actually, again, I think you said the right thing. I remember talking to Amit. By the way, people listening, Tanvi asked me for advice, which tells you how little she knew about podcasting. and it took about 40 calls to get Amit to reply to her for some reason. And every time he just kept forgetting. Honestly, there was no other reason. There were all kinds of other issues on his mind. But the thing that really got my fancy was that, nobody ever, if you're a sports lover like I am, there are lots of Indians who love sports. It's just not Indians, it's everybody now. You never get the perspective of the anchor if they're as a sports person. The anchor is always, somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think if you guys are talking, because that empathy level and that understanding level and that connection level is much higher, and then we enjoy it more, I would think. So I think that was a key thing, which I'm glad that you finally got it going and it's out there, and we'll get to hear the voices. I mean, there's so many things you want to hear. I want to hear a lot of gossip. Say in tennis, there's this famous fight and all. Uska clarity mila nahi, yaar, Shlok bhai. Kandivli mein pucho, garden mein pucho. Clarity nahi mila uske bare mein. And also, little rivalries in badminton, they go so far, and what happened, who got injured, who are the real threats, how do you cope abroad, how do you manage? We have no idea, for example, the badminton world, how you guys travel, who pays for what, who picks you, drops you, what's it like. I mean, I'd love to know all that, because I think you just read the score, okay, reach the quarterfinal, blah, blah. But there's much more to that.
Yeah.
It's just the making of that athlete. At least I would love to hear it.
Totally.
So now I'm talking too much, so let's get back to you.
So I mean, so that was the goal, starting off saying that, everybody knows once you've made it. So what about the whole journey of how a Rohan Bopanna is a Rohan Bopanna, or how a Parupalli Kashyap is a Parupalli Kashyap? You see him now being this Commonwealth medalist, but he's had his rough times, which he's told on his show that at one point of time he just had the Indian Oil job, and he was struggling to make ends, and even in terms of monetary support from the association, there are several norms. Like the current norm is that if you're not in the top 30 of the world, you do not get funding from the Sports Authority of India.
But who makes that number, firstly? And secondly, shouldn't it be more about the Indian position vis-a-vis going abroad and doing better, like the top 5 maybe sponsored or like that?
Yeah, ideally it should be on the domestic circuit. But the thing is that the domestic circuit isn't very highly respected. So a lot of these top players... So a lot of these top players don't even come and play. So they focus on their world ranking. They play the Super Series.
But that's all sport now, no? How to come back to the domestic circuit once you're playing the international circuit.
Exactly. You can't play everything. It's a body after all. So
Tanvi keeps using all kinds of metaphors which are scary. Like you can't play everything. 9 months. I'm going to write down everything here and make a note to Mr. Doshi.
I was on Ashton's show a couple of weeks ago, and he calls them nuggets. She keeps dropping nuggets, it seems.
Yeah, I know. After this whole Me Too controversy, we just did something with Netflix and Amazon both, and both give us lectures. Netflix is still ongoing, and lectures for 2 hours. I was sitting here with these actors, Bobby Deol, Arjun Rampal, all known actors, Sharman Joshi, myself and Abrar, 5 of us, And when no one had discussed anything sexual in the content in the whole morning, then they put this damn thing on and told us all things about harassment, this and that. And post that meeting, all we could do was double meaning jokes. And I was just thinking, why did you do it? It's some psychological thing there. You put the light on. We weren't even thinking like that. We were all nervous about this film script and all that, and the reading. And then it all went out of the window, and everyone is looking at each other like 5 boys in a canteen misbehaving. And I said, oh God, we should be now fired immediately.
So they planted the seed in your head, actually.
Yeah. I think with men, if you do that, now they start thinking. This is my theory. With most men, men are weak. Tanvi, on the other hand, is just actually innocent, I hope, at the moment. But we'll see after episode 75, if it continues as Shlok, then I think we have to take her to Kandivli, put her in the garden, make a song, and make her play badminton for the rest of her life. Sorry. So let's get back to where we were with the birth of the show. So Tanvi, at that point, you didn't know who you wanted to do it alone, partner. Where did all that come from? It was first your idea.
So going back to Shlok and I had started training at the same academy in Mumbai. We played a little bit of mixed doubles together, and then I, of course, specialized in single.
Not a very successful stint. We had in
which academy is this?
So we started training at the Udaipur Badminton Academy, and that was there. I think at that point in time we trained at Andheri Sports
Club. Yeah.
But then because she is 2 years elder to me, Tanvi
went for Dal diya bouncer. Well done, Shlok.
She ventured out of Bombay earlier than me. The sabbatical, and karega abhi kya karega, like this is something which I have in mind. So not a podcast like a talk show, and let's see how it goes. And then Tanvi it takes all these ideas and like, oh yeah, this is good, huh? Then next day and 2 days later she told me, we should be serious about it, we should start this. But then nothing happened.
This is during lockdown or before?
No, this is pre-lockdown.
Oh, so you already had the idea.
Feb.
This was during the Premier Badminton League in Jan Feb. Yeah. And when I told him about it, he laughed it off. He was okay, chalo, karte hain. Like literally, he just mocked the idea. And I was
but you guys didn't have time to do all these things at that point, no? More mind space, I would presume.
Yeah. No, but even when I voiced it to him during the just at the start of the lockdown, he was like, he literally lolled me, to use millennial language. But I was like, dude, we're going to actually make a success of this. And
why did you loll her?
Lol.
Lol क्यों किया? अभी call किया तो lol किया. Why?
So the problem was कि she called me and I was at that point prepping for GMAT, and once I'm stuck and she's calling me and saying like कि अरे let's do this chat show which we had discussed. I'm like, Tanvi, कैसे मतलब क्या? मतलब what medium, nothing. Let's do it.
So sabbatical meant you were studying for GMAT. So what's happening? You're thinking of leaving badminton, or you get a scholarship and go to an area where you play badminton? States is not a good idea.
Definitely not. I'm hoping to do B school at some point of time in my life. So I was just starting. I started prepping, and I didn't give any exam yet, but just to get the mind started.
Middle class South Indian phenomenon where if they're not over-educated, even if you're Gopichand, you have to have 3 MBAs. It doesn't matter. Without 3 MBAs, how can they talk in public? Padma Shri mil gaya, uska kuch pata nahi, but he is MBA. He's engineer.
Software engineer, exactly.
Guy is one of the top-ranked young athletes in the country, and he's still worried. Think about those people who have nothing in their plate, no future. They are the ones who need to do this MBA. Not you.
That's what KL Rahul, right? So KL Rahul, even though he played for India and everything, what his mom told was very happy that, you got an RBI job.
Boys are all over-educated. Sometimes I feel they should be dropped because of that.
So even this podcast, to start with, we had to do everything from scratch, right? The content and the editing and everything. And of course, Shlok contacted his tech cousin somewhere in the US who was doing all the tech work for us.
And his payment was a credit on Instagram story.
Ho jayega, Baba. Once you become big, money will come. Till then, you will tell him the same thing.
Yeah. So starting it was very difficult. How do you start a podcast? What do you do? Then we are trying to figure it out. So Tanvi was taking care of edits, and I was taking care of how do you put it on a platform. And watching YouTube videos, or how do you start a podcast, then understanding there is something called an RSS feed. Acha, ye bhi hota hai. I thought it would be
RSS feed. Be careful, beta.
So then submitting it to iTunes and Spotify. And
wow, it's quite romantic. You literally turned engineer, composer, what do you want to call it, producer?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, here we thought you'll just come as 2 athletes discussing the state of sports culture in India and sports celebrities, etc. But you did the hard work, the what do you call it, hardware part of it as well.
Yeah.
So was that fun in a way?
It was a learning experience. Yes,
who was helping you, Tanvi?
Sorry?
He had his cousin. some overeducated guy in Wharton or something.
I was
What about
sitting,
you?
I had the time. So I was literally sitting and listening to every interview.
So
cut
all
this
self,
time.
DIY.
Totally.
Are you a DIY person for everything?
DIY. Absolutely.
I think in these 7 months, a lot of people have discovered their DIY ability, and good or bad. It's a bit scary sometimes, especially with food, because somebody has tasted success or people are being polite, and next thing you know, har din pe kuch bhi banata hai, and you have to, lovely. Yeah.
But we had a 19-year-old editor with us, sound engineer / editor.
Okay. Underage, overqualified. Tell me.
No.
Where?
So we just met. I met him during the Premier Badminton League, and he was doing the sound edit then, and he was like an intern there.
Right.
So I asked him that, will you help me? Yes. So his name was Mandar, and his name is still Mandar.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing to say. I was about to say COVID. Sorry, bad joke, insensitive. Cut it. Never say it. Mandar, we love you.
So he was on board for the first season, and so Tanvi and Mandar would sometimes, Mandar would sometimes rip his head off because of the number of edits. Tanvi saying that no, either ye mujhe ye chahiye.
She's a control freak. Shlok.
She is. Thoda.
Arey, my God.
Concham.
So doubles partners we should talk to for Tanvi, because if she's like this on the podcast, imagine in badminton and all.
That's why I specialize in singles. I don't play doubles.
You don't play doubles?
No chance. I won't let my partner survive on that court.
So
Mixed
that's
doubles?
after our unsuccessful mixed doubles stint, which lasted one tournament.
Doesn't spoil the omelette, yaar. Come on. Have some protein while you're there. That's scary.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the IVM Podcast app, or ivmpodcast.com, or on your favorite podcasting app.
But Shlok, you play doubles, right?
Yeah, I specialize in men doubles.
Yeah.
Went as high as 31 in the world. Played 3
With
world
whom?
championships
Who was
with
the
Arjun MR.
Okay.
He's a guy from Kerala.
And now you disbanded because of your sabbatical, or what?
No. So the partnership, the breaking of the partnership was also one of the reasons why the sabbatical happened.
When we hang in there, this is important gossip. Boliye, sir, kya hua? Aaj ka Arjun ka kya hua kal?
This is your Arnab moment.
Yes.
The nation wants to know.
Don't joke about this. Your show will really work with gossip. Gossip is, you cannot not have gossip on your show. I know it's tough sometimes, but little bitching and all will really make it work, I believe.
Yeah.
Because we are such small-minded people. This is what we like.
Gups. It's in badminton world. It's called Gups.
Hello, auntie. I think your mom passed away.
Yeah. So she was very happy. Like, you're doing a show with Cyrus Barocha. Like, you made it in life.
Oh God, the mothers can be sarcastic, Baba. Don't worry about that. But I hope your dad hasn't confined her to the kitchen every time they wake up. Kitchen, because he's had 4 months of Shlok khana, and he's like.
Then he told me, Shlok, तूने badminton से sabbatical ले लिया, लेकिन cooking से retirement ले.
Superb. But he said it with love. See, he's making sure you don't make a fool of yourself.
Yeah, I'd like to think that he said it out of love.
No, he knows what your talent is. You're a baddie player. Don't go to the kitchen. What's the big deal here? At least you have your one thing. Sorry, Arjun ka kya hua?
So last year during the Olympic cycle, this is in 2019, there was this new foreign coach who had come in, was part of the Indian badminton double setup. He changed our partnership. He basically broke our partnership.
Why? A foreign hand. Arnav would love this show.
I don't
foreign
know.
Hand.
Because
China se?
No, he was from Indonesia.
Oh, it's a friendly country for us.
But this is normal in partnerships.
Why do they break it?
I don't know. He didn't fancy my game or something like that, or maybe there was an age difference between me and my doubles partner. So he was 2.5 years younger, and they wanted him to pair him up with a younger player. But so they didn't let me give the chance to give my Olympic qualification full cycle. That happened. So, but the major issue was that once a partnership is broken and a new partnership is made, you have to put your own money till you reach the top 30. So that is where it wasn't working out for me.
You felt a little disillusioned and upset.
I mean, I was upset saying that if you're world number 31 and you've made a new partnership, I shouldn't be paying my money from scratch again, right? I mean, in other countries, in Korea or Malaysia, where a partnership is broken, saying that you and me were doubles partners, but then you get shifted and you and Arnab start playing doubles. So the association is paying money to you so that you go out and play tournaments, and they are taking care of you. Because they are also separating you and giving you.
So what you're saying is in Korea, they're looking at the partnership from both perspectives.
Exactly.
If A goes out and B also has to go out, you look at you're making two new teams for the betterment of both. Am I right?
Yes.
And funded by the federation.
But it should be funded by the federation.
Funded by the federation.
Now Shlok starts from having zero
again,
ranking. I mean, he has to build it up, and that's going to take a hell lot of
So
funding.
he came back and started GMAT immediately.
He started making sense. But that's the sad situation.
I had some savings, right? So imagine.
Could you go above this, coach? I'm sorry to get into the politics, but can you not go to the BFI or federation or whatever and say...
No, so BI had given him a full hand of, changing partnerships. So if there was only one way, that is to go outside the system and almost playing as a rebel. Which was
and then they don't let you play in the tournaments and all that.
Then it has its repercussions.
Then it has its...
everything. You're funding yourself, you're training on your own.
That's anywhere in the world. No, they want
that's
control.
everywhere.
And it was a very tough ask for a 22-year-old, my doubles partner, to come out of the systems and be a rebel at 22 because he had, he was much younger than me.
Because then the only thing you'll play is Kandivli Open, and that's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, So, I mean, I've always said never say never. So maybe if someday I get some corporate support and I get a good doubles partner, I can maybe come back. But as of now, no intentions of coming up. But I'm mentoring a few kids, which is fun.
At 25? Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
When we talk to him. How can he talk like this at 25?
He's an uncle, no.
So, he is
an uncle.
No, but isn't the best years of a badminton player's life his late 20s?
25, 20 to 30. I mean, everybody peaks at a different age, but Indians typically peak around 27, 28. That's what they say.
I remember Yang never got old because he was Yang.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, so bad. Ouch. Disgusting. But this is not nice news, Shlok. Please don't say that, please. And you, what about the Premier League when it comes back?
So in the 5 years of the Premier Badminton League, I just played once.
But you start back from there, no? That's high profile. People watch you.
That's a whole process, right? You have to get back into the auction, and if you're not in the rankings, then you don't get bid, and
So I was in the top 40 for almost 4 years, and I was only picked once. So even that wasn't good enough to land me a spot, and I didn't play a single match even this year because there were two Koreans in my team. So I was warming the bench, which I was fine with it. But getting a chance is very difficult.
But if you compare like the PBL and the IPL, for instance, you have Ranji players, getting bid for 70 lakhs, 80 lakhs a crore. And they may not play a single match, but they're still getting that kind of money. Yeah. And here in the PBL, you have, your Sindhu, Saina, they're the whatever icon players who get bid for 70, 80 lakhs. And there are the rest of us who literally get like 1 and 2 lakhs.
So my bid was 1 lakh minus TDS. So 1 lakh minus
you to pay GST, huh?
वो भी pay करना.
Oh yeah. So you literally, there's such a disparity here.
Fair enough, but if you leave the money out of it for a second, at least you get a platform, you perform, maybe you take some points of a really big name or set or a upset, all these things. So you get that chance.
Yeah, you get a chance.
And just rubbing shoulders with the best in the business, surely it helps, especially when you're young.
Yeah. For sure. There is absolutely no denying that. PBL, like I learned a lot when I was in the PBL, but if you look at the difference between an IPL and a PBL is that in IPL only 4 foreign players are allowed. So it's developing the Indian players. Whereas in the PBL, the only rule is that you need to have 1 Indian playing 1 match. And rest, it could be all foreigners. So it is. So I don't feel sometimes that it is really, it could be doing so much more for the Indian players. Finally, it's the Premier Badminton Indian League, right? But now it feels like a Premier Badminton World League.
But if you look at EPL, how many English players are there per team, like that? I mean, there's no... it's about winning, I suppose. After some time, it goes beyond all this stuff.
Yeah, it goes beyond all that.
But taking it from IPL, because it's in EPL again, it's different thing. But taking from IPL, I think, what IPL has done for Indian cricket is unbelievable.
But see, they have 7 weeks plus little preparation. So they're rubbing shoulders with Pollard and all these big guns for 7-8 weeks. So they're getting a lot of it out of it in intangible ways. 100%. You guys have 2 or 3 weeks. It's much shorter.
14 days plus 2 days of camp. 16 days.
Yeah, which with the late planes and all that, trains and all that, you miss one day for sure. So I think that's a more like this whole situation is looked at from the point of view of Indian players. These are the things you'll be discussing on your podcast, won't you?
Yeah.
100%, yeah. So we're talking about, of course, we're covering nutrition and mental health, and but everything about Indian sport and the sporting system, and we've been through it, and there are glitches which we feel quite strongly about. So.
I know you have to voice it. I remember when we used to swim in the old days, they had 2 federations and then it became 2 camps. If you swam in one, you couldn't take part. If you took the part in the Ghatkopar tournament, you can't take part in the MJMO tournament. I mean, it made no sense to people who are just coming and training and going home because the fighting was going on. And I hope it's better now in India. But I know in boxing it's terrible. In weightlifting it's terrible. I thought Baddy was one of the better run sports, frankly, in India. But who knows?
I mean,
be careful. But Tanvi, okay, don't answer that. Why aren't you telling him why aren't you motivating him more to play? Why is he being so cynical?
I have tried my level best. In fact, he's training harder now. He's been, he does his track running and shadow training, and he's training quite hard. So he
needs to find one good doubles partner here.
Yeah,
surely there's one good doubles partner also on the comeback trail. You need to have that same balance kind of situation, hunger.
So the thing is that if at that point of time when I was given a new partner, if I would have been given an experienced guy who's done fairly well, and so I wouldn't even mind putting in the money. But then if you give me a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, who's is not the finished article yet, and he's going to peak in a year or so, but it becomes very difficult for me.
Yeah, then you spend 1 year not winning anything and getting out of the.
So or I get a 26-year-old, 27-year-old who's already had results and he knows what he's doing. Here I'm more of a grooming role than actually doing something.
The problem with us is, as we've mentioned in our that we're millennials. We don't have too much patience. Everything we need like 3 months, 6 months. We want results.
But it's a short sport. I think you're right.
Exactly.
You got 10 year window here. You want to waste 2 years on the side grooming people when he's at his peak. I suppose next year, 2 years, he'll be at his absolute peak. So as an athlete, at least. Yeah, that's a bit. Let me talk to the people in the know. I'll make some calls. I don't know if Gopi-chan can help anymore. He's a very personal friend of mine. We are very close.
No, I was at the academy. He couldn't have done anything because he was the chief national coach at that point of time. But
he still is the chief national coach.
He still is the chief national coach.
The national center is Gopi-chan Academy. So we've spent 5 years there, and
I spent 8 years.
He spent 8 years. I've spent 5 years.
8 years on a 5-year course. It starts from there. All the mistake.
Moved out. After that, and now training in Bangalore. So we've lived that academy military life, and we've seen everything that place had to offer. But we've decided to move on in whichever disciplines, whichever ways.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of controversial questions before we go to AMAs and all this. Who's better at their peak, Sindhu or Saina? At their peak, because I know Saina is slightly on the down, and Sindhu is probably at her peak.
As an athlete, I would say Sindhu is the more accomplished athlete, but as a pure badminton player from, in terms of I think Saina, because the way her anticipation, her ability to read opponents, and
and she changed the game for women in India, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or single-handedly, there's this one girl suddenly started winning things. Now you've got so many of you all coming up.
Mental strength is.
Yeah, her mental strength is. I've not seen somebody in India with better mental strength than Saina Nehwal, for sure.
And best male player, we've had so many guys. The number one position keeps changing. We've had a few winners in the Commonwealth and Olympics and all this.
Yeah, we are very fortunate. We have a golden generation of men's single shuttlers. We've got
5-6 of them.
7 in the top 50. That is huge.
So who would you say is the best? So is that a very tough question?
It's a very tough question. On talent, I would say Kidambi Srikanth is probably the best. Yeah. But right now, on form, I feel this kid, 19-year-old Lakshya Sen,
who came back from this thing with the dad getting COVID.
Yeah.
But he's a bit undercooked, yeah?
Yeah, he's a bit undercooked, but on current form, I think he's the best shuttler on the tour right now. He's progressing really well. Kidambi has struggled for a bit, but he's come back really well. But I would say right now it is Kidambi or Lakshya, because I've not seen Sai Praneeth play in a very long time, the current World Championship bronze medalist. But we've got Pranoy, you've got Kashyap, everybody in the mix. Ajay is there in the mix, Shubhankar is there. But I'm personally a Kidambi Srikanth fan, apart from Lakshya Sen.
The level in India today, badminton-wise, is right up there. It's superb. And, sometimes when we were interviewing some of the athletes, absolute stalwarts in their respective sports, but a lot of them have gone on to win, a couple of national awards. And we just feel that badminton, I think everyone deserves a national award. We have every one of the men.
It's a very visually interesting sport. I don't know why it's not being pushed, or it should get more eyeballs, because it's a sport I can watch. I watch it on TV all the time when these things are on, because you can follow the shuttlecock. You can see it's shot nicely, unlike say squash, which is tough to watch. So.
And just not that, I think even the second rung of men's single shuttlers are phenomenally good. I mean, they're so good. Like, if you go and watch an All India senior ranking tournament, you would, comparatively with other events, you just watch men's singles, you would just, be amazed by the quality in the quarterfinals, because anybody can beat anybody. And all of these are 17, 18, 19-year-olds, doing so well. So men's singles, even the future for men's singles shuttlers is bright.
But I think the system basically, it just needs a revamp. You're not going to, you can't play the numbers game all the time. Put 500 players into the system and you'll get 2 gold medalists. It can't work like that. There has to be a clear-cut system, which is how it is in Europe.
A little bit more privatized system would help also. I think you guys get a corporate sponsor on your own, train, maybe there are 3-4 guys in, say, Indian Oil takes care of those 3-4 guys, and they push them, and that for that generation alone.
So there's this concept of going pro, like the tennis players do. Finding enough corporate support, which doesn't exist, because badminton as a sport is, globally, dominated by federations.
Right.
Federations. So all of our prize money, be it anybody in the country, goes to the federation, and then the federation gives it to the players.
And they take a cut?
With China, yes. Japan, yes. Because they are taking care of
With China,
everything.
They don't take a cut. They just take it.
But they're actually taking care of a lot of things, right?
Since 15, 16.
I think you're before you become a Lin Dan also, you're like a super celebrity, and all money and things, issues are no longer issues, right?
Yes.
So ever since you're in the senior team, your tournaments, your stay, everything has been decided there. You don't have to pay a single money. All you need to go, work hard, and perform your best.
Guys, just give me a second. The Saluki is crying. I'll be back in a second. My Arab dog.
Okay.
Your Arab dog?
Arab dog.
Yeah, he's Saluki, no? So they originated from Egypt and Persia.
No, but is dog Arab?
Yeah, well, he's from Arabia. His descent, he was abandoned. They are both rescue dogs that I have. Saved,
nice.
What we call. And my Indian.
He has a lineage.
Yeah, but the breeder left him on the Alibag beach, main thing. For 2 months, he was abandoned, bitten, beaten, you can imagine all that. And he's quite the Lokanwala model type, not the rough and tough, tumble, Kandivli boy, gives it back to you and all. So, we have digressed from the politics of sport. I have one quick question before the AMAs, which is the technicalities of badminton. Unlike tennis, is very clear, hard court, grass, in the old days, clay, of course. In baddie, but I hear when I read about things like the air condition blowing in one direction, the perspective of the court being different from one side to the other side, things like that. So, what are the issues that you have when you travel and all? What are the technical differences, like pitch conditions?
So, I think the biggest issue is that in badminton, the hall temperature needs to be below a certain temperature. So when you go to Europe, you are actually not facing any kind of drift or nothing, because the ACs aren't on. But the problem is when you play in Malaysia, China, because it's much more hotter, that is the time they use, air conditioned, and, sometimes...
So the shuttlecock will go...
Yeah, so it moves up. And the thing is that, there is a good side and then there is a bad side. So you start off, ideally, if you are playing with the drift, with the wind, it is actually a lot more tougher, because, the shuttles become so more fast rather than you play against the wind. But these blowers can be changed. I mean, so sometimes when you're playing local players, especially you're playing China and Malaysia, you're always on the bad side. Yeah. So you start off in the bad side, then you're going to the bad side.
And so three games, so you got only one.
You're on the bad side. Which is what every country does. I mean, even
do we do it? India does?
Yeah. It's happened in one of the Asian team championships where our organizer also did that, because you were like, sir, China does it, Malaysia does it, they do it all the time. We need to
practice. Do you have to feed yourself all this? Do you have to put the AC against you?
We don't have air-conditioned halls.
We don't have?
No, we don't.
BG is air-conditioned, for example.
BG is one club that is air-conditioned. A couple of clubs, but like
NACI?
the National Center.
The National Center isn't.
The National Center isn't, or the major
Where
academies
you're training in Bangalore?
No air-conditioned.
And Kandivli Garden?
Kandivli Garden
has lots of drift actually.
No, but actually, where I train at Goregaon Sports Club, there's actually an AC. So there is, but the thing is that most it doesn't affect that much because they are not blowers. So most of these halls are multi-purpose halls.
Right.
So they are not meant for badminton. They're just...
Because in India, we have to have Sangeet, wedding reception, everything where we play sport.
Exactly.
We're the only country in the world where, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma got married last night and today Tanvi won the nationals. It's just amazing how we can do that.
But globally. So even in China,
in Malaysia?
Yeah, China, Malaysia.
Even in Europe, you reach for a tournament 2 days earlier, it will be a basketball court. And
what are you saying? That's not fair.
The
All England Championship, which is like
way.
a Wimbledon. Yes, it is not an existing badminton court.
It is not an existing badminton
court.
It's a multi-purpose hall.
It's a multi-purpose hall.
What do they play?
I've attended a Justin Timberlake concert in that arena, Birmingham Arena.
Sacrilege. Prakash Padukone 1980.
Yes.
How can you do that?
In
what
the same arena.
Yeah.
Now you've taken one of my worst celebrities ever into the All England. You've killed the All England culture for me forever.
So everywhere.
So people are drinking alcohol and jumping around and having good time.
But they transform the place.
They transform the place completely.
What about the wood? Or the surface?
No, so we've got the court mats. So all of the international matches cannot be on wooden surface. It has to be on the mat.
But what happens when the crowd comes in for something like a Timberlake concert?
No, the whole place gets transformed, no?
They transform it overnight.
Not like Wankhede, where after the wedding the ball will turn square because everything is dug up completely.
No.
They transform the place and perfect, on point in terms of organizing. And Europe can't be, any of these European countries.
Would you like to base yourselves if you had the money and sponsorship in Europe for training and all that, or is it better?
So a lot of the players do that, but then it becomes, your training and everything has to be handled on your own. In India, our training style is a bit different. We put in a lot, longer hours. There it's a lot, like shorter quality sessions.
Just stick to the time. I'm sure they'll just, whatever they tell you, they'll stick to that.
Yeah.
Here, don't we always make up our own... 6 o'clock becomes 7 o'clock.
7. No, I
think
we
can never plan.
That's why
you guys have no lives. You guys have no lives because of our timing problem in India. Otherwise, you're packing up at 6. Like for us also, the pack-up time is never the pack-up time. So you cannot really say, guys, let's meet up and all. Especially when I was younger, it was very frustrating to try and have a life. Just over. But you're jealous of the European athletes. They'll pack up at 5, go to the pub or go to a Justin Timberlake concert and come back very refreshed in the morning.
And the weekend starts on Friday.
Yeah. They don't practice on Saturday, Sunday?
No, generally not. I mean, they may just go to the gym or something.
Or a light session, but so it's Monday to Friday. Sometimes we also have training on Sunday. Just because we don't go out on Saturday night.
Yeah, I know. God.
So,
for 2 generations, you have to be disciplined after that.
Exactly.
Tanvi's grandkids, but I don't want to play. Okay, guys, this has been great fun. The name of the podcast is?
The Millennial Athlete with Tanvi and Shlok.
And the Millennial Athlete means it's going to go beyond badminton as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you discuss politics and stuff as well? From the point of view of a sports person, I'm not talking about the politics of badminton, but would you talk about, say, American elections because it's there?
I mean, we do have that, but just not on the podcast. I mean, we haven't reached that stage yet where we are actually talking politics. We do discuss politics, but not on the show yet. Hopefully, if we are on our 100th episode.
If you run out of sports.
If we run out of sports and athletes, we'll be talking about the election.
Please cover our chess champions as well. Huh?
But sport is so controversial that we always have
that's true. Indian politics and sports is like, how can we not have?
We had some hugely controversial statements in season 1.
I know. Just for the Dronacharya awards every year, those kind of things. There's so much lobbying and fighting. It's just ridiculous. So.
And there's so much emotion. Athletes are so emotional that they will say something out of context. So we pick that up.
Especially with Twitter and,
you pick it up and then you go after it. Excellent. Great stuff. Yeah.
He's the Arnav of badminton.
No, but Arnav doesn't pick up anything on Twitter. He makes up his own thing. He has these white papers. Even I've started keeping them for safety. You have to have a white paper, blank paper, and one with little ink on it which you can't read. These are my accounts. Now, can you see the accounts? No, I'm showing it for the world to see my accounts. So, there's a technique to that. You got to respect it. And then it's been, I'm fair and transparent and open, accountability to ho gaya. This is it. Okay, guys, we got the AMAs as we conclude this terrible show of ours, where somebody will ask us questions, Sylvie will come back, and then you all have to answer. Huh?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to an awesome, amazing, incredible week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. Why aren't you? You should. It's absolutely essential that you do. It's IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Another fun week in the books last week, and I think you guys should definitely check out some of the shows that we did. So first, let me tell you about Cock and Bull. We did 2 Cock and Bulls on Cyrus Says last week, which is, I don't think we've ever done before. But there was just so much to talk about, and it was fun. The first one was just on Trish, myself, and Cyrus. The second one, we had Abhijit Ganguly on, and that was a great episode. Do check that out. Check out Know Your Kanun as well. It's been a while since I spoke about that show, but Amber's been doing a great job on it. This week he spoke to Naina Sharma, a Canadian lawyer, about the ways that you do business in Canada and the challenges that presents. Definitely very interesting stuff. Do check that out. The guys at Non-Curry are doing some really, really fun stuff. Do check out their latest episode. They talk about roti, the simple bread, but it's got some complications to it. Let them tell you about what they are. Do check that out. Also, do definitely check out the Wire Talks with Siddharth Bhatia. He's been killing it, man. It's just a news show, but what great conversations. This week, he had Siddharth Singh on to talk about pollution. Do check that out. And you know what, guys? The best news of all, Simplified is back. They've been back for a few weeks and I haven't called them out before, but remember that they're back and do check them out. This week, they talk about, does censorship make sense? Knowing the guys, I think I know the answer to that, but you should go check that out. And with that, let's go back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Silvery, welcome back to the show, sweetie.
Hi, darling. How are you?
Do you play badminton?
A little bit, but
your
not.
Boy gated community must be having a baddie court and all, no?
We have like a tiny basketball court which becomes a badminton court sometimes, yes, as they
See,
say.
Multi-purpose. But that's fair enough. Now, this is gated community, so they'll get bang for the buck from one area.
Just waiting for Justin Timberlake to show up. And
you get Altaf Raja if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
What is the full form of AMA?
Ask me anything. Oh, what kind of friggin' unbelievable.
Wow, you're millennials. Wow.
He's a millennial, I know.
I'll use another word than M. What the hell, millennial? I mean, really, yaar. This we could get from people of my generation when they come on the show, fair enough. But you guys, I mean, half the time the lol and Paul and all was going on from the beginning, and now you're exposed. You're exposed. Go back to badminton. Don't waste your time.
All right. The first question comes in from Shiv Sethi. He asks, hi Cyrus and guests. I have been in Mumbai for the past 5 years and love the city except, of course, the goddamn traffic. The lockdown these past 7 or so months had helped make the roads so empty that I kind of forgot how crazily crowded our roads normally are. The lockdown has lifted and the traffic is back now. And somehow it seems to be even worse than before. Cyrus and guests, firstly, what do you think of this? And Cyrus, can we start expecting your awesome traffic rants again?
They started. I'll let the guests answer first, then I'll rant about my God. Do you drive, Shlok, in Bombay?
Yeah, I just learned how to drive like 8 months back.
Okay. And
so it's been a good experience so far. I got my license as well.
He's been giving me updates every week. I got my learners. I got my license. I was like, congratulations. Let's drum roll.
आज मैंने कोई गाड़ी को नहीं ठोका.
हो जाएगा बेटा. Don't be overconfident. You're in bloody Kandivli. You think there's space? What are you talking about, man?
But I love driving.
Self-drive, huh? Tanvi, do you drive?
Yes, I drive. I drive
people who don't drive,
I'm a
because they don't drive, then they think we're being elitist and all. You have to physically drive in Mumbai, get irritated about driving, and then.
Yeah.
I'm a control freak, so I have to be in control.
So you started abusing and all, like everybody else now.
Bangalore is okay once you
Bangalore
get used
rickshaws?
to the.
What are you talking about?
No,
They are top 10 worst criminals of the world.
There's a method to their madness. There's a method to the madness. You don't use your rear view mirror. You only use the side mirrors because they keep cutting from left to right.
But they're terrible. Yeah, they're worse than our rickshaws. I think they're the worst rickshaw drivers of India.
Yeah, they just bid any amount. Like Kormangla, 2,000 rupees. But yeah,
that's the entrepreneurship side of them. But I'm just talking about their bad behavior. Okay, let's talk about the driving issues here. So in April, it was lovely. It was really empty when we first took the cars. I think we've all discussed that and all. And honeymoon period is over because now it's almost 80% normal. And I have to tell you that all the roads have been dug up because the government has decided that koi hai nahi road pe, so let's dig it up. And that's not finished, but the city is starting again. So now they've given us 50% road and called us back to action. So it's going to be madness. I'm just warning you. Shlok, what's your take?
Yeah.
One answer?
Oh, yeah. So whenever I travel...
He's backing you up.
Whenever I travel from Goregaon Sports Club to back home and the whole... Because of the metro work, everything is dug up. So what actually takes me 8 minutes early morning, it takes me close to 50 minutes and a lot of abuses.
That's why I keep telling people, I do the same thing about the minutes, to explain the situation, especially in South Bombay, Parel, which is a really bad area for us. It takes from Parel just to get to Harjali about 45 minutes at about 2, 3 in the afternoon, and over 1.5 hours in the evening.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a 1.5 kilometer stretch. I checked it also. So, I mean, it's like you said, early morning, it's 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. If you're really slow and old and, driving like that.
Yeah.
And then 1 hour. I mean, it's like, how can you not kill yourself? And if you're self-driving, you can't read, watch, nothing. All you can do is talk, and that's also illegal. But I do that. I cheat.
Or you can listen to Cyrus's podcast.
That's what I was just going to
exactly.
say. I listen to my podcasts when I'm driving. So
commuting is the best time where even I get most of my podcasts in.
And then if the host is more frustrated than you feel better. I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow, he's also talking about traffic. I was not thinking about traffic.
The other day, I was laughing my head off at something that I'd heard on the podcast, and this person next to me in the car was giving me this glare, like, is she like psychotic or something?
But whose podcast was it?
It was yours.
Oh. It was unintentional.
It was cock and bull with, I don't know, somebody. I think the Instagram head.
Oh, yeah, that girl. Yeah. What is Niharika. I've got Alzheimer's. Niharika, if you listen to the show, I love you. You're lovely. Lovely person. God.
All right. The next one comes in from Yogita Naik. She asks, hey to the Cyrus team and guests. Hope you're all doing well. I have a question for you. When was the first time that you realized what you wanted to do with your life? And was it an immediate realization that this was exactly what you want? Or was there a slow and gradual process towards it?
Look, this one is for you, honestly. Because I still don't know what I want to do with my life. And
even I don't.
I've accepted I'm a failure. Once you accept that, the pressure goes off. I told my mom one day, I said, Mom, just don't expect too much. Forget it, yaar. Because X has gone to medical college. X has started a business. Someone's a startup champion. Someone's father is so rich. I said, forget it. Kuch nahi ho paega. Let's leave it there.
Life is a race.
No, or you just get out of it and then there's no tension. Na?
Humse na ho paega.
Exactly. Just say, I'm a failure. So what can somebody say after that? The 3 minutes is try, and then they move on. So, Olo, you're at that crossroads, it looks like. You tell us.
I know. So I'll tell you. So the only reason I started badminton was to run away from homework. So that is why I started badminton.
That's a noble reason. Fair enough.
And give all of my homework to mom. Like, please, kar lo yaar. Mere ko jaake badminton khelna. She thought very serious.
So your mom can be an MBA?
My mom is one.
She is?
Yeah.
Wow. What are you saying, man? So you're really uneducated now, bro. You better do the GMAT. Whether you become national champion or not, GMAT karna padega abhi.
So my mom said Tambram, no? So my
cousin
brother in Howard.
Where's your Veena? Show me something. Okay, that sounded terrible. That goes into a Tanvi moment. That's a Tanvi moment. Go on, tell me you play something, what?
Nothing.
What? Carnatic vocals, Hindustani vocals, something must be there.
No. I tried the piano. That was pathetic, I know.
He can't even sing to save his life.
The only strings I use are badminton strings.
Tanvi GMAT. Don't disturb him, please. Beta ko padhai karo abhi.
So I still don't know what I'll do with my life, and I'm as confused.
You're thinking about that. Even Donald Trump doesn't know what he's going to do with his life right now. So don't worry.
The starting point is not knowing, right? It's when you don't know that.
Why do you have to finish your life off by saying this is what I'm going to do with my life?
Exactly.
In a sense, it's the end of your life. I know if you're a doctor or whatever, and that's what. But then people at 40 are feeling completely like, okay, so maine ye kiya for 10 years. I'm a surgeon, whatever, and there's nothing coming out of that after some time.
Yeah.
So I think it's an ongoing process.
We realize that even in sport, like we set these lofty goals, and once we actually achieve them, it's all about the process. Because once you achieve it, okay, you're national champion on that day, and then like, is this it? Yeah.
So I can't understand why you guys go back to coaching after 15, 20 years of this life. Why you don't want to do something totally different?
Totally right.
I understand from economics point of view, they can't resist it if somebody gives a great package and all. But from a mental point of view, don't you think yaar aur kuch karega abhi?
That's why I actually quit. So I just mentor.
You're too young. I want you, if you're 32, I'd have no problem.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Going back to the question, I still haven't figured out anything. Tanvi, when did you figure out that you wanted to?
Tanvi, I've watched Tanvi
also done a postgrad in sports
She's one of those
management.
driven. You also done?
She's done.
But why?
So actually, I had this niggle in my knee, and I had to get operated. So that year was anyways going to go down the drain. So I decided.
But you were worried it would end the career.
No, not career. I just thought I'd use my time effectively and get my MSc degree done in the process. It keeps me mentally engaged as well. Otherwise, you sit and see everyone train and you just go down mentally.
Without being mean, what will you do with MSc?
It's an MSc in sports management, so I can get back to.
So you'll start a management firm for
Not
sports.
necessarily a I mean, something on that.
That's what you
lines.
guys need. You need old athletes from before coming and helping the next generation.
Totally. Yeah. So in fact,
exactly.
A lot of my friends were doing an MSc in nutrition and psychology, and they all wanted to, get jobs there. And the first thing I told them was, dude, come back to India. We need these qualified people here. The system is totally messed up. So, but yeah, everyone's back and hoping to make a difference. Lofty, noble ideas, but yeah.
That's where I want to go eventually. It's sports administration and moving on the other side and, helping the next gen of, athletes, just not badminton players. Athletes in India and, try to, make more Olympic champions from the
outside cricket, all the other sports.
Yes.
From the admin point of view and, just, helping and supporting them.
Yeah, but
you're trying to get in more corporate support.
But in a way, you're lucky because you end your career in your 30s or somewhere around that area, you have to find a new pursuit. I'm saying the growth will continue. Now, people who don't have that, they're just stuck. I mean, many of our father's generation, they go to the same job till 60, come back home. So that I'm sure that after some time it's just so routine, like a government job. Look at Silvery. He's not even paying attention because we make him do this every day.
He's zoned out.
He looks a bit like a separatist at the moment, but it's fine.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Polo.
Yeah, this is slightly longer. Please bear with me.
Oh, God, I'll drink.
Comes in from Manali Jha. She says, "Hi, Cyrus and guests. Cyrus, I'm sure you're kind of loving what is happening to Arnav right now. It does seem like he kind of deserves it. There are people who are outraged, and they should be, regardless of what we are told. I do think it's a little bit of a witch hunt. But he has been doing the same to the other people the entire freaking lockdown. So how is one supposed to feel bad for him now? I feel.
I got to tell you, it's a tough one because, honestly, he's been terrible this last 1 year. He's causing a lot of dissent and division in our society and ridiculous. This Sushant Singh Rajput thing that went to the poor Riya Chakraborty. I mean, you destroying her life, for what? For a failed love affair, there's nothing more to it. And a family and all. Just think of it. These are heinous crimes. But having said that, I can't understand how you can use your powers, political and police powers to it's very blatant that they're just making up the cases or pushing cases or reopening cases. So if they had to do something in a more subtle fashion, it would be one thing. But it's a bit bad. Makes us look a little bad, a bit more like a Chinese sort of society where, these kind of things can just happen because the government has decided they've had enough of you. So that bit is scary. But note one thing, none of his peers, not India Today, not CNN where we work, not Z has a little bit, not Times and not whoever else is there, the players, NDTV, none of them are coming in support. Generally, if you have even one journalist in a small, akhbar in somewhere in the south or north or whatever, and they were jailed for no reason, freedom of speech, it would be a big movement here. Everyone would come and support. Here, strangely, everyone's just looking the other way. Because it's just a piece of theater now. Honestly, it's the funniest thing on television. I love the whole shooting of himself, where he's showing assault and all that. That poor police officer clearly said, "Sir, please come with me. Sir, please come with me." 3-4 baar bola. Then after that, what is he supposed to do? The police should do dharna outside because we are anti-violence. No. They're going to pick your hand and take you. But and then pointing to his shoes and all, you're telling me that they really didn't let him wear shoes? No. That must have only happened at the end when he didn't cooperate. But I wish they hadn't, push this agenda, which is so clear.
There's a second part to this.
But let them answer also because let's see, their millennial impressions are better than ours. What do you guys feel about the Arnav thing? Then we'll go to the second part.
You voiced everything that was in my head, like literally.
Yeah.
The whole, it felt like a vengeance of going behind and, opening up cases. Only that part, doesn't, go off very well. But you've covered it most.
Yeah, well, what can we do now? But the good thing with the podcast is y'all can go to Denmark, play your badminton, and do the podcast. No one can arrest you here. So you can do whatever you want.
And we can say whatever we want.
You can say whatever you want, right? But remember, Saturday, Sunday, you can't train. Second part.
So Manali goes on to say, I feel if people are outraged about this Arnab thing, though, they should be just as outraged about all the journalists, lawyers, activists, and the like that the current government has been jailing for the last few years. I say, either get outraged by everything or don't get outraged at all. What do you think?
Yeah, but that's a tough one. If you don't know about it, how do you get outraged?
Yeah.
Very often these things are hush done and there's not enough publicity. Thanks to the internet, there is much more now than ever before, but still things get hushed. Secondly, the problem is that this guy's got his own TV channel. So the information is like ball by ball in cricketing terms, you know. Yeah. I mean, literally they put timers on and saying 14 hours, 16 minutes since they held his hand, 15 hours, 22 minutes since he didn't have shoes, 9 hours, 6 minutes since he's not eaten non-vegetarian food or whatever. It just goes on like that.
And the hashtags.
Oh, yes.
I love them.
Yeah, India goes berserk. Democracy destroyed. Yeah, and then they have 6 people standing in Assam holding, one paper which they haven't read themselves. It's hilarious, all that. Yeah. But having said that, I do feel that the press should know. Yeah, you can't just bully them. Who will have the guts to say anything? Of course, This is not the right things that have come out. But generally speaking, it means the police, like what we saw in lockdown, we don't want the police to have so much power that they just can do anything. Because then it's like a police state. Yeah, it'll be exactly like what happens in North Korea, which is very sad. Do you want your uncle shot at the anti-aircraft missiles? They are 46 feet long muzzles and all. That poor guy was made to stand there, and Kim Jong-un went bing, boom. I mean, really.
That's what he did with the first case, right? So what I heard was ever since he got the first case in North Korea, they killed him and beheaded him.
Yeah. No, they killed all the first cases that came in and said they have no cases, which means they didn't lie. See, think of it this way. He never tells the untruth. Yeah. It's sort of like, he just says right now when he gives you the information, they've all been killed, so there are no cases.
He's the anti-Donald Trump.
That's the connection is best friend Donald Trump. Donald Trump will have to go to North Korea and support him. It's not going to happen the other way. Anyway, thanks guys. Shlok, Tanvi, I'm so glad the show started because you worked so hard and tried to push it, and we fumbled a lot in the beginning, but it's all good now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Cyrus, for having us.
So much.
Can I ask one last question? Who's the one person you want on your show? Which is a sportsman? I mean, forget baddie, anywhere.
Rafa Nadal. Period. Finished. End of story.
Tanvi, they all talk about Federer and all that, but how will he not break all the records? At least 2 more years he'll play?
Yeah.
So at least 3 more Grand Slams? I just did the maths.
Yeah.
It'll be unbelievable what he leaves behind.
He's already unbelievable. He's his whole persona, the way he warms up only, I feel like getting onto court immediately. Like he's
I'd like to get I'd like to either get Virat or Daniel Ricciardo. From F1, I think I'd love to get Virat someday.
But he talks all the time, so you can put it together. He doesn't hold back.
Bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Audacity mein dal ke. But yeah, I mean, what he's achieved in the past 6-7 years is unbelievable. So Virat Kohli and Daniel Ricciardo are my top. Hopefully, the Millennial Athlete someday
We've put it out there. We've put it out to the universe now. The universe is to
If Klopp comes on, Jurgen Klopp comes on Liverpool, then just tell me because my son goes mad.
So I thought you were a Liverpool fan. So.
No, so we all have become because of fear.
Okay.
It's like, and then the citizens, because he cries, he screams, 3 in the bloody morning Champions League, everyone has to be awake. It's like, Miguel, what happened? I missed the penalty. What world we live in? They say Garib Desh. Garib Desh, nobody behaves like this, Only Chalo. Bye, guys. Now putting it off and taking half an hour. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you. We need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are 2 passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset and everything sport.
So tune in to the Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.
Have you ever wondered how successful people do their thing? How do they navigate the challenges they often face? Are you wondering about the future of restaurants, film, education, technology, and everything else in between? Hi, I'm Gauri Devidayal, best known for being one of the brains behind The Table, an award-winning restaurant in Bombay. One thing my life as a restaurateur has given me is the opportunity to meet with some truly inspiring people, most often just by chatting with strangers at the community table. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about learning the new dimensions of business and understanding how different people swim this sea. It's an opportunity for me to pick their brains and ask them all the questions on my mind, whether it's about learning from their past experiences or talking about future trends. Through their journeys, stories, and insights, I hope you too, like me, will come away inspired and energized. So come, join me every Wednesday with your favorite drink, because this round is on me.